You are designed so that in the absence of judgment and inhibition, emotional charge, or physical disability, many groupings of your body components move as units or teams, often moving together or with others in an opposite path. These combinations of body sets and movements are called movement teams. This is especially relevant for any of you dancers, singers, or artists out there. If any of this sounds intriguing to you, stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Pal Go On. Good morning. Welcome. Good morning and welcome back to the Best Feeling Podcast and the Best Feeling Network, your only no nonsense podcast with your host Herbie. I'm Herbie, and this is Pal Go On. Good morning, wherever you are, whenever thou art. Today is absolutely Monday, December 19th, 2022. Can you believe that we're already here? Oh my gosh, coming close to the end of the year. Wild. The end of the year is like what? 2 weeks away? Holy crap. Yeah, in 2 weeks, we shall be in the year 2023. Oh my God. Oh, can you believe it? Holy crap. Where does the time go? We're about to be hitting 2023. Good morning. Welcome back. As you can see, the green screen behind us, as usual, is playing its role as second host here, just going wild in the background, keeping us entertained. How are you doing? How was your weekend? Hope you've been feeling well. Hope you've been able to feel so well in that moment where you are integrating with that present moment, reminding yourself that the most godly moment there is the present. And how do we focus on the present? By focusing on the body. As we all know, the body is here and now, not in the future, not in the past, but the body is here and now. We shall be doing our usual today. If you are a returning member, a viewer, guest here, welcome back. Hope you've been feeling well. Hope you've been enjoying those last few episodes, and remembering that to spread that sweet hearing awareness to the front of your shins. Thank you so much for all the support. And anyone who might be new here, we shall be feeling so good from the inside out today, better than your morning would feel without. We're going to be having a physical component first of the show where we realign ourselves and get used to feeling present in the moment in that body of ours again. And then we will be having a mental part of the show right after that where we will be discussing today the book, The Body's Map of Consciousness, Volume 1, Movement by Lansing, Barrett, Gresham, and Julie J. Nichols. Why are we talking about this book? Well, for starters, it is a Mover Monday, which means that we are discussing, as every day on Padawan, we're always discussing the relationship between ourselves and other topics. Mover Monday, we're talking about the relationship between ourselves and our own bodies. So today we're going to be talking about how you are designed so that in the absence of judgment and inhibition, emotional charge, or physical disability, many groupings of your body moves together or wants to agree to move together. How does this work? Why might this benefit you? Stick around, especially if you are a dancer, singer, or someone intrigued by art, or anyone intrigued by being in the zone, quote unquote. Maybe if you are even someone who's working out, as I have been lately. Shout outs to Orion. Thank you for all the assistance in that. Very helpful in working out if you have been having a hard time getting your body to move in the way that you want it to, if you're having a hard time reaching that form. We're first going to be doing a physical portion of the show, as usual, to align our self-awareness again, stretch our self-awareness like a muscle. Of course, so that you can feel so good in that body, wherever you are. Of course, you are over there, whether you're watching us live right now on YouTube at the premiere at 9 a.m. on Monday, December 19th, 2022. Or whether you're out there in a VOD, wherever you are, watching us in a video on demand on YouTube or what have you. We invite you to allow these sounds, as beautiful as they are, to blend into the symphony of sounds around you, always staying present in that moment. We are just one component of all the sounds that you're hearing all around you. So without further ado, we hope that you will join us in stretching our self-awareness like a muscle. Time to stretch our self-awareness like a muscle. Wherever you are, whenever thou art, let's remember to listen for 7 different things around us. Let's just spend a short 5 minutes listening for all the things around us in order to balance and feel so good in that body of ours. Um, First is that the sound of birds chirping outside. That's one of our favorites. Let's stretch that self-hearing. Let's stretch that self-awareness by spreading some of that hearing awareness out to the outside. Maybe you're in a car somewhere. Is it possible that you are listening to the traffic outside? Zoom. Is it possible that you are hearing the gears in your car shift as we are keeping our hearing awareness kind of distant? Are those the sounds of people walking outside? Or are those the sounds of more cars outside? Do you hear the wind going against the windshield of your car? Or if you're inside, is that the sound of someone tapping on the window? Tap, 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 tap. And then as we bring our hearing awareness closer to ourselves to stretch our self-awareness like a muscle, it's important when we're stretching, of course, just like when we're working out a muscle, we want to check its extreme range of motion in one direction and then also go to the other range of motion towards, as both are equally important. So we might spread around some of our hearing awareness towards objects or sounds closer to us. Is that the sound of your heart beating? Let's go really close. Whether you're in a car moving, or whether you're stationary at a coffee shop, or whether you're at a mall, or whether you're walking around the neighborhood, kind of a mixture of both, moving but not super quickly. Maybe you're in an airplane right now. How do you feel if you observe your sense of self while spreading some of that hearing awareness towards something like the ruffles of your shirt on yourself? Or if we spread some of that hearing awareness to now the tapping of your shoe against the ground and observe our sense of self. Various sensations as we observe our sense of self to stay in the moment. Various sensations that are only happening here and right now to your body here and right now. And if we move our hearing awareness a little bit further, like a medium distance away, maybe that's a baby crying on the airplane. Or maybe you hear the sound of someone writing on a notebook a decent distance away from you. And then if we spread our hearing awareness again, let's listen for another thing around us. Another distinct sound around you. Is that the sound of someone opening a carriage above you? If you're maybe in a bus or on a plane. Is that the sound of children's laughter around you? Is that the sound of someone having a conversation, maybe muffled by the airplane noises around you? And then if we move our hearing awareness again in distance, closer to ourselves, can we hear the sound of our own body as it inhales and exhales? We're not thinking about inhaling or exhaling necessarily, but simply observing our sense of self as we move our hearing awareness to detect how our body feels or how our body sounds when we exhale or inhale, or possibly how our body sounds when our lips smack together. Then observe our sense of self as we move our hearing awareness, of course. And then again, let's move our hearing awareness a little bit further away. A little bit further away from the body. Woo! All the way over there. What's that we hear over there? Is that the sound of a door opening? Maybe you can hear someone relieving themselves in the bathroom in the distance, hopefully just pee or poo. Do you hear someone else telling a joke? And how does your body feel if we observe our sense of self as we move our hearing awareness a great distance away? You ever think about how it sounds if you like listened for the sun or listened for like stars? I used to call it stars chirping. I used to say that stars chirped. You guys think about that? What kind of sound does a star make when it twinkles? Or perhaps your hearing awareness in a great distance away was rather hearing someone chewing on some cashews, opening a pistachio in the far distance, or maybe someone just walking around. Some birds chirping, the wind blowing. How does your body feel if you observe your sense of self when we stretch our hearing awareness all the way over there? And then one more time, if we bring our hearing awareness all the way close back to the body, a very, very great distance near to the body. If we put our hearing awareness again on our chest to hear our heart, how does it feel to observe your sense of self as you do so? Thank you for joining us as we stretch our self-awareness like a muscle. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause or some snaps wherever you are. Thank you for joining us. How do you feel? I hope you felt fantastic, impossibly fantastic. All right. Thank you guys. Remember to leave a like, share, comment, subscribe. Let us know how you feel about all of this. If any of this is intriguing to you, if you felt relaxed. Let's move on to the mental portion of the show. I cannot believe, guys, it is freaking Monday, December 19th, 2022, which means I believe that if you are of Jewish faith, Hanukkah was yesterday. Happy Hanukkah. I know that Hanukkah is not on the same level as Christmas in terms of the Jewish faith, but how did it go? Did you eat some food? I don't really know much about Hanukkah. Let me know what it's all about. Today, as we get closer to Christmas, we're only freaking 6 days away. It's wild. We're going to be reading an excerpt from chapter 5 of The Body's Map of Consciousness, Volume 1, Movement by Lansing, Barrett, Gresham, and Julie J. Nichols, which you can find in the recommended book and reading list down below, whether you're a returning or a new viewer. We welcome everyone, but especially those who are artists or aspiring artists, singers, aspiring singers, dancers, aspiring dancers, addicts, especially, maybe not aspiring addicts, but if you are, you are what you are. But addicts, people looking to get over addiction, previous addicts looking for intensity in their life again, rather, they're not satisfied with the amount of intensity in their frequency of energy. Free thinkers and ex-free thinkers, welcome back. We welcome you all, and anyone who might not fit in those categories. Maybe you'll find something that means something to you here. Movement teams and planar relationships. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Planar, Planar. I know it has to do with planes, right? Like things on the same plane. Like you and I, we are conversing on the same plane right now. Unless you are speaking to us telepathically and you're just meditating and somehow you've gotten access to these waves and you're just like, hey, sensei, teach me. Okay, so, quote, you are designed so that in the absence of judgment and inhibition, emotional charge, or physical disability, many groupings of your body components move as units or teams, often moving together or with others in the opposite path. These combinations of body sites and movement are called movement teams, according to this book, which it's important to get on the same vocabulary so we know what we're talking about. Now let's continue. The term, quote, movement teams, quote, end quote, refers to something far more intricate than the mere idea of coordination. Here we go. It refers to, italicize, all the ways that all the involved muscles, bones, tissues, and nerves can accomplish a given movement/behavior with the minimum consumption of resource and expenditure of energy. Now that's kind of a mouthful, so let's try reading it again. Movement teams, quote unquote, refers to something far more intricate than the mere idea of coordination. It refers to all the ways that all the involved muscles, bones, tissues, and nerves can accomplish a given movement/behavior with the minimum consumption of resource and expenditure of energy. End quote. I want to break away from the book real quickly to just reflect on that. That's wild to me. So what does that mean to you? I'll give my 2 cents on it in a little bit, but what does that mean to you? Movement teams, quote unquote, refers to all the ways that all the involved muscles, bones, tissues, and nerves can accomplish a given movement/behavior with the minimum consumption of resource and expenditure of energy. Now, what does that mean to you? Raise your hand if that means something to you. If you can kind of surmise something that means to you, that like what that means to you. It's like being in like a class, like in elementary school. Like I'll wait, but it's a good thing this time. One more time. Movement teams, quote unquote, refers to all the ways that all the involved muscles, bones, tissues, and nerves can accomplish a given movement slash behavior with the minimum consumption of resource and expenditure of energy. To me, what that seems to mean when I read that is movement teams are movements in agreement to their design. If you're moving or functioning according to the design of how you were designed, then the movement or behavior that you were attempting to achieve would require the minimum consumption of resource and expenditure of energy. I like to use the example of like a sliding door. Now, if you approach a sliding door with the intent of opening it like a rotating door, you might have some vector of that horizontal motion that could influence the sliding door to move in its to open according to its direction, because you're moving with a swinging motion like a normal swinging door. Then you would have some of that horizontal motion, and you might be able to influence this sliding door to move ever so slightly towards its design in opening itself. But you're going to be met with a lot of resistance, right? You're going to consume a lot of resources and expend a lot of energy in trying to open this sliding door because you're trying to use an incorrect movement or behavior, one that's inappropriate for this sliding door. However, should you understand the movement teams of the door, you know, like there's like rotating gears there that are meant to spin a certain way. This door is not hinged to the wall the same way that a normal swinging door is, where a normal swinging door has like one hinge that it's, or a few hinges, but it's all in like one location horizontally according to the wall, and so the door swings according to that hinge. No, a sliding door is a door not on a hinge but on a track, and so all these different components of the sliding door enable its behavior. The same way that we're talking about with these movement teams, it involves muscles, bones, tissues, and nerves. A door is not just a door; it's like doors, there's hinges, and then screws, nails, a knob usually. And if it's a swinging door, it's on hinges. If it's a sliding door, it's on a track or a rail, and there's wheels on it, usually, or some kind of ball bearing. And so understanding how that team of components of that door function will allow you to move this door with a minimum consumption of resources and minimum expenditure of energy, if you understand that movement team properly. So if you're trying to open a sliding door, should you try to open it like a swinging door, you're going to be expending more energy and you're going to be consuming more resources, possibly damaging the door in order to get the door to move in the desirable way, to behave desirably. But if you move in accordance to this sliding door's movement teams, understanding how this team functions, how the sliding door team functions with the ball bearings, with the track that the door is on, the fact that the door will slide into its recess to the side, whether that's into a wall or just simply behind another wall. You can then move that sliding door with ease if you're not swinging it, but rather simply sliding it horizontally or wherever it wants to slide to, according to its track, right? Then you can expend the minimum amount of resources and expend the minimum amount of energy and still get all the great benefits of a door, like the fact that it keeps air out, or that it allows privacy, or that it protects one side from breaching into the other. You are able to have all the benefits of this door and also have this door change in functionality as it opens, and then it allows movement, and then it exposes what's on the other side or it allows air in the room, you get all the benefits of having this open door. You transform this freaking door's function. You transform what is happening in 3D space in this area by expending the minimum amount of energy and by consuming the minimum amount of resource, as in, not causing any extra damage and consuming the minimum amount of resource even in your own body to move. And so you're able to transform the function of this area with with a very minimum consumption of resources and very minimum expenditure of energy, which is amazing. That's like what humans are here on this earth to do. Create these tools that like metamorphosize the way that we live our lives and metamorphosize that an area is perceived and used by people themselves with making these tools and then expending like this minimum amount of energy, not just on like this physical space, but even in your own body, using the least amount of resources and expending the least amount of energy in your own body and just like affect this area. It's freaking crazy. Something that like you could not do on your own in your own body without all this extra help. If you wanted to create privacy, if you wanted to prevent wind, if you wanted to prevent someone from moving to another side, and still be free to act in your own way, in your own human way, freaking bonkers to me. So, that to me is a very succinct example of movement teams, an analogy for movement teams. Now, I'm sure there are other analogies. We took kind of a deep dive into that one, but that was one of my favorites because I think it is so all-inclusive. Everyone really understands doors. If you have any other examples, let us know in the comments. We'll be right back after this short break to read more from Chapter 5 of the Body's Map of Consciousness, Volume 1, Movement. We often think about the body just being muscles and nerves, or muscles and bones, but the nervous system is also highly involved with the body, and so are like just other tissues. And so all of these are part of movement teams. We got muscles, bones, tissues, and nerves. And just the same way doors have many components like the hinges, the tracks that is on the door itself, the knob, our body has a few different movement teams in it that we can actually leverage in order to achieve desirable movement and behavior with minimum consumption of resources in the same way and expenditure of energy. It's kind of beautiful, especially if you're a dancer or a singer or someone who's working out or aesthetically aware, or anyone who's always just been curious about the body. I think that you'll find this intriguing. We'll be right back after this short break here with your host Herbie on Pag On. Thank you. Ooh. Trying to get that background music on. Hold on one second. All right, we'll be right back. Drained, depressed,
Has the chaos of the world got you feeling confused and apathetic? Even gassy? Feeling like nothing gets you out of this funk? When you're feeling lost in the daily grind, left feeling meaningless, don't touch grass, touch the front of your shins. Feel less tired and more inspired with us on the Best Feeling podcast. Pal, go on.
Feel less tired. Whoa, a lot of sounds going on. Feel less tired and more inspired here on the Best Feeling podcast. Pal, go on. Good morning. Welcome back to Pal, go on. My name is Herbie. I'm your host. Hope you have been feeling well out there. Hope you've been spending some time to stretch your self-awareness like a muscle. We've been talking today about movement teams and planar relationships. We shall be revisiting this topic in the future, so don't fret. Do not fret. So right before the break, we talked about how movement teams, quote unquote, refers to all the ways that all of the involved muscles, bones, tissues, and nerves can accomplish a given movement slash behavior with the minimum consumption of resource and expenditure of energy. And we related this to like a door, like how if you have a sliding door, you want to move it in accordance to its design so that you can spend the least energy and get all the benefits of what happens when you affect the state of a door. We're going to read another quote from the book to push us a little bit further into this understanding of these movement teams and planar relationships. Quote, your nervous system and physical body are designed to be able to do their work together with minimum friction. That's a good word for this. Resistance or obstruction to generate optimum qualities of ease, grace, and beauty. You instinctively evaluate a dancer's performance by how little effort it appears the dancer makes. You give the highest marks to effortless and graceful movement. You know instinctively that it reveals not only mechanical skill, well polished by practice, but also lack of internal conflict. The presence of only one dominant motive or intention in the consciousness of the dancer, which is the dance itself. In fact, dancers generally dance in order to get into a state where that it is all there is for them to do. If you didn't catch that, I highly recommend you run that back. Listen to that paragraph again. Wild. I think this is wild. Something that we all think about or that we all intuitively know, but put into words, articulated magically, beautifully, so well. You instinctively evaluate a dancer's performance by how little effort it appears the dancer makes. Now, if you are a painter, do we give the highest marks to painters who look like they're struggling? Now, to even bodybuilders, people who are working out, you don't have to be a bodybuilder. Anyone who's been working out, is it often that people are told or that you are told that your form is looking good if you're stressing out? If you look incredibly anxious or if your whole body feels like it's in disharmony, even when you're doing something stressful like working out, is this more akin to good form or bad form? Even when working out, we instinctively understand or we instinctively rate someone's form based on how effortless the workout is, how present the specific dominant motions are, the intention in the consciousness of the person working out. Even in something quote unquote stressful as working out, we instinctively evaluate the performance based on how little effort it takes. We know that if you are working out the body, if it feels as though there is a lot of effort, like you're escaping pain when you are working out, it's possible that your form is off. It's just so mind-blowing to me how instinctively true this is. For dancers, artists, singers, especially those who are concerned with aesthetics, we naturally are are more responsive, we give higher marks to performances that show how little effort there is involved. Now, we might think like, oh, so if they don't put in any effort, then we should rate them higher. But it's closer to how it takes very little effort to slide a sliding door if you are going according to its design. And likewise, instead of any other kind of motion that you might have, it takes very little effort to move a swinging door according to its design, as long as you're moving it closer or in accordance to its design. In the same way, if you're moving in accordance to the design of the human body, your body can move effortlessly while still performing all sorts of intricate movements or behaviors. You can consume the least amount of resources and you could expend the least amount of energy and still get that same movement and same behavior. How? If you're moving according to the body's design. If there's a lack of internal conflict. If the movement teams within your body are moving in agreement with itself. One of the biggest myths in modern day society, which we might have to talk about on like Truth Hurts Day. Everything's mind blowing to me right now. Not just in the mornings, but in the last few years, especially after reading this book, everything becomes mind blowing. It's like, oh my God, oh, the pieces come together. What? It's wild. Go ahead and pick up this book if you guys want, but I know that most of you are not going to be picking up this book, so feel free to join along as we read and discuss and reflect and apply this book together, especially on Mover Mondays. So I know that most aren't going to go and read the book. They're not super thick books, but they're dense. There's a lot of content in here, but it's rich content. It's like treasure. And so, excuse me, mind blowing to me, but one of the biggest myths in modern day society right now is art is 100% subjective all the time. You can't rate art. All art is equally as valuable as one another. Yeah, right. That's like saying that you like to watch all dancers equally. That's like saying that when you watch all dancers or listen to all singers, you enjoy their presence or you enjoy their performance equally. It's not true. Obviously, of course, there's some level of objectivity to dance or to aesthetics, to art, to singing, to working out. Obviously, there's some objectivity. Why? Because the body itself is objective. The machine that is creating that art, the machine that is moving in order to outwardly manifest this dance or this song or this painting, the machine that creates those is objective to a degree. That's the reason why working out has an objective form. If you want to activate certain muscles, in the same way, if you want to achieve certain body positions, postures, movements, there are objective muscles that are involved or objective muscles that are not involved, as in they must agree to let go in order for that movement to be made with the least consumption of resource and the least expenditure of energy. There is a level of objectivity to art. The biggest myth in modern day society is that art is 100% subjective in every which way. Obviously not true. Of course, it doesn't mean that we're going to be able to tell you what kind of art you make, what position to make, and when, but your relationship to how that was made, there is a level of objectivity to it, as in we expect there to be either we can surmise a rating, or we can instinctively evaluate the performance based on how much resources were consumed or how much energy was expended to get there. We can see how much harmony there was in the body, how much authenticity, how much presence of only one dominant motive or intention was in the consciousness of at that time. Again, in fact, quote unquote, dancers generally dance in order to get into a state where that is all there is for them to do, that dance. So if you're watching someone in the Olympics, when you see someone doing those crazy freaking flips, somersaults, and then they finally land and they stick the landing, we're instinctively evaluating this Olympic gymnast based on how much it looks like their entire body intended to simply be in the moment of behaving as a gymnast, or if it looks like their brain was on other things, compartmentalized and split in attention. If there's disharmony, if there's conflict in the body, in the awareness, we instinctively rate that too. And so in modern day society, as we talk about movement teams, in modern day society, of course, we can't tell you what to manifest, what art to produce, what song to sing, how to sing it, or what dance move to use. And we can't tell you what dance move you're going to make. We can't tell you what art is going to come out of you. And we can't rate the specifics of what song you're choosing to sing, or what melody, or or what lyrics that your body chose, or what sequence of movements that you want to choose for your Olympic routine. Of course, as a society, we can't, and as individuals, we can't know what specific art you're going to make. In fact, part of art is that it is unpredictable. One of the objectively good things about art is that it kind of defies expectations. But we instinctively evaluate how you got there, whether it was freedom, authenticity, and one integrated intention that brought you there, or did you arrive there through conflict in the body? Did you consume extra resources when unnecessary that could have been used towards a more creative spin on that art? Did you expend extra energy that didn't need to be expended that could have been used perhaps in energy towards that same dance move, or that same song, or that same workout? Did you expend extra energy when you didn't need to in order to arrive there? And we already all know all the implications of spending extra energy and consuming extra resources that you don't need to do. It's like trying to swing a sliding door. You might eventually open that door, but how much damage was dealt to the door? How much damage was done to you? How much more of that energy could you have used elsewhere in your life and still achieve the same thing? The implications are physically manifested and obvious in the physical realm. So we might say, quote unquote, according to the book, as we leave off here, we'll continue this next week. You might say, quote unquote, that when movement is easy, you're in line with, or quote, in congruence with the way your body is designed. And when movement is difficult, something in you puts you in conflict with or renders you insensitive to the design. Art is subjective, but not 100% subjective, as we instinctively evaluate dancers' performance by how little effort it appears the dancer makes. Now, are we judging the specific dance that they're doing? No, of course, but we can evaluate how much, and we instinctively evaluate the dancer's performance by how little effort it appears the dancer makes. We don't know exactly what is going to come from you, but how you arrive there and your relationship to it, your relationship to the design, we instinctively rate on good or bad. I mean, when an Olympic flipper is flipping on or spinning, someone help me out with this vocab. Someone in Long Beach help me out with this vocab. When someone is spinning on a pole and then they do a flip and then they land on their feet. I mean, isn't it evidence enough that we always talk about sticking the landing? They just land effortlessly. Woo! They understand the body's design and how its relationship to gravity and its own balance works and its own function of its own movement team, so that it sits there, bam, sticks the landing. Woo! Looks effortless, right? Why do we rate it lower when they land on the ground and then bounce and then they don't stick the landing? Right? Very interesting. You don't know what the tricks are going to do, but the way they do it, we can rate intuitively, instinctively, based on how little effort it looks like it takes. As this reveals it reveals how much effort has actually been spent practicing this movement and how much understanding they have of their own bodies, movement teams, and design. Thank you guys for joining us today. We will be back here tomorrow on True Love Tuesday. That'll be December 20. Tuesday, December 20, 2022. It's so crazy that we're already here. Guys, just a small announcement. We will be moving our time block of this show probably closer to like 6 a.m. instead of 9 a.m., but that's happening in the near future. So stick around for that. Guys, if you liked what you heard today, if you were intrigued by any of this, please join us tomorrow or any of the weekdays at 9 a.m. here on Pal Go On, as we are discussing the relationship between ourselves and other things, generating energy from the inside out, becoming independent of any kind of substance abuse, sex abuse, or any kind of other addiction. Getting to a point where we can be with it or without it. Of course, joys in life are always going to feel good, but we want to be able to live with it or without it. Thank you guys for joining us. Always appreciate all the feedback. My name is Herbie, and this has been Pal Go On. Leave a like, share, comment, subscribe if you like what you heard today. This is the Best Feeling Podcast in the Best Feeling Network, and your only no nonsense podcast. My name is Herbie, and this has been Pal Go On. Let's attack the new week. Big love.